Guys, it's Ellen again. So today we're going to have a feature site. So click the thumbs up if you like the feature site. So today we're gonna review Wilhelm until his 7 stars. So when Wilhelm got into global, he made a very good look on his kit. So he can buff your defense and spirit along with a 100% provoke and a counter chance with physical attack so that you can fill his LB along with other LBs of your units. So Wilhelm in general is a very monster tank. So in global right now he's being outclassed by maybe like Bash, because Bash can AoE physical tank and along with magical tank. But Wilhelm has a different kit, so he has a 100% provoke tank. But soon, when the 7 stars will come, Wilhelm will be the number 1 tank in all of JP until now, until today. So we're going to evaluate, or we're going to see why is Wilhelm is the best tank in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, especially in JP. So he's a male, and then his job is a general. So the skills for level active skills for 5 star is Guard Smite. So a single target, 1 hit, 140% physical attack, then self 50% damage reduction for 1 turn. So after you give him a provoke, so you can next turn, if you don't have to do anything, you can just do a Guard Smite and you will just have a 50% damage reduction. Next would be Shield Bash. So a single target, 1 hit, 120% physical attack, and then 30% confuse. So I don't usually use this, but for 30% confuse it's okay. But mostly you will just have to do or use the Guard Smite along with if you have Imperial Lance, because if it's the Imperial Lance, it gets with single target, 1 hit, 180% physical attack, and when you enhance it, it will have a AMP leech or MP recovery, and when you dealing with the boss or any monster. Next would be General's Command and AoE 45% defense and spirit for 5 turns. So next would be his 100% provoke, so impregnable. So it gives him 100% chance to be targeted for 3 turns, and then self 30% damage reduction for 3 turns. Next would be his 7-star kit. Now, this is where he shines. He gains a 75% chance to defend allies with 50% damage reductions for 3 turns. So it's an AoE cover with 75 chance to proc off, and then gives himself a 50% damage reduction. So it's like Warrior of Light, but a greater chance of to proc the AoE cover. Next would be a single target plus 400% physical attack with defense and as attack with single target minus 60% magic debuff for 5 turns. Or if you're one of the unlucky guys who can pull Lunera, as I said in the previous feature site, so you can have at least a monster tank along with a big break like 60% attack, and then also a break with a magical attack. Although it's just a single imperil for attack, or it's either attack or magic, but it's a good if you don't have any slots for a breaker. So next would be his 110 7-star skill would be a self 90% physical damage reduction for 1 turn or a 3 turn cooldown for turn 1. So if you're getting a very high damage from the boss, you can just use this skill and then just survive. If you have already the 75% chance to defend or the physical AoE cover, and then just use this 90% physical damage, and you will just defend it and just brush it off all the damage that you can get from the boss. So let's see his passive ability. So it's draw attacks, so he has a 50% chance to be targeted, so that's a very high. And if you use impregnable, so it's a 100% chance to provoke, but that is if you're only on the 6 star. So counter, he has a 30% chance to counter physical attacks and then gains a spirit of 20%. Then he gains an eye for an eye, so it doubles the chance of countering, so it's 60% that proc that he will just counter attacks with normal attacks, and then you can gain for Esper orbs or limit burst crystals. Next, he gains a 30% attack, HP, sorry, and then defense plus 30% again. Then he gains at level 75 for the protector, and it gives him 25% defense when he's equipped with a heavy shield, and then another 25%, so that's 50% when equipped with a heavy armor. So it's a very good combination for him to get that high def, and he will not die from physical attacks. Next would be Overcaution. So he heals himself with an 8.0 modifier if he put himself on guard, so it will just heal him. Next would be for his passive for 7 stars. So at level 101, after you awaken him to 7 stars, so it requires Shield of the Emperor or his TMR. So his TMR is plus 65% defense and plus 65% spirit. It's a heavy shield, so he gains the protector for himself, and then when you equip him with his shield, he gains another plus 30 to defense, and then plus 30 HP, and then 100% chance to ignore up to 1 fatal attacks when HP is above 1%. So that's very great for a TMR and also for his passives. Next would be at 115, he will gain a 20% spirit. So while he's gaining another defensive stats, he now has at least a 40% spirit bonus. So his max level would be an 80% chance to counter physical attacks with AoE limit burst rate plus 100% for 1 turn, or another 80% chance to counter magical attacks with AoE increased limit burst rate with 100% for 1 turns, and then he gains a plus 20%, another defense of 20% and HP of 20%. So we will just, if you equip him right and with all of his TMRs and super TMRs, I will just get him around like 1000 defense and 800 spirit, and then at least have a 18,000 HP or 16,000 HP. So, and when you cast his 7-star skill, so we will not just die because it's a 90% physical damage if it's physical. So these are his enhancements. So at +1, and he will have a 100% to be targeted, and then 35% damage reductions for 3 turns. And if you max it out with +2, it's a 100% chance to be targeted for 3 turns, and then 40% chance reduction for 4 turns. So General's commands will just be increased from 35 to 70% defense for 5 turns. So that if you have already Wilhelm, I recommend you to go or enhance his protector. At +2, it gains a 40% defense and spirit when equipped with the heavy shield, and then another 40% when equipped with the heavy armor, and then he gains a 30% HP. So he's a monster within this defense and spirit, and then another HP. As you can see, Wilhelm's mana or MP usage is very high, and he usually loses all his MP if you were not wise in using all of his abilities. So I recommend you to get the Imperial Land, so that if you have a turn that he can do anything that he wants because you don't have to do with him. You already have the AoE physical cover. You already used the Imperial Lance. He already used the skills that like buff himself up or use the provoke. So that if you're looking for some MP or he's losing a lot of MP, so you can use just Imperial Lance. With Imperial Lance plus 2, it is a single target one hit 230% physical attack and 80% attack with 30% HP drain, and then single attack 20% attack with MP drain. So that's why I will just gain all of his MP after that turn. So at level 6, 6 stars. So if you max it out, it's an AoE 54% damage reduction for 1 turn, and then self 70% defense for 3 turns. If you have seen some build from Wilhelm's, they usually give him some ignorance, and then lately from Jake's Pirate Ring, or now they usually give him Fairy Scrunchy from Meme, and then other equipments that can give him limit burst per turn. So if you equip him with that along with some HPs, you can use his limit burst every turn and just kill or just defend all the time and have limit and have damage reduction for himself or an AoE reduction. So it's a very great limit burst. So at 7 stars, he gains a 54% damage reduction for 1 turn, and then self 100% defense for 3 turns. So let's now see his Super Trust Mastery reward or his armor. So it's an heavy armor. It's a plus 110 defense, 110 spirit, HP plus 20%. So if you build him right along with his Shield of the Empire and then his Super Trust Mastery armor, and then give him some limit burst crystals, and then he counters, he can use that his limit burst all the time. His element resistance, he has at least a 50% status resistances to all of the status resistance. So it's 50% from poison, blind, sleep, silence, paralysis, confusion, disease, and stone. So I hope you guys enjoyed this feature site. So please don't forget to like the video and also subscribe in my channel to see future contents and also some videos of my guides for the new players or just the low level players. And I will be putting some Facebook group link in the description below, because if you need to find a friends to chain with, or if you need any help from the trial because you're just so sad or so pissed with the trial because you can't defeat it, so you can just join the group, and then there's a thread there that you can find any persons that you can chain with. So hope to see you soon, guys. If you don't, remember to subscribe in my channel. So bye guys, bye.